Hello, the internet, and welcome back to another episode of Dbacks Dispatch. We are your hosts, Gabriel and Brandon. Brett is off TCOB right now, so he won't be here until I guess the next episode, which I believe should be on Thursday. So don't miss him too much. I want to welcome everyone in here. I want to welcome everyone in the chat. Scott, I see you in there. Um, I want to welcome everyone who's watching us on Twitter as well. If you're joining us for the first time, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Um, it really helps out the show a lot, but you can also check us out on Twitter, on Discord, TikTok, Instagram at Dbacks Dispatch, and you can find the written articles by great producer Josh on AZ Snake Pit. And we've apparently made the front page of Yahoo News a couple of times from those articles, so which is pretty cool. So either way, if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple after the fact, be sure to rate and review us as well. And if you have any questions, give us questions in the chat or even give us some questions on TikTok on Twitter or Discord. Now, we're going to be breaking down the D-backs versus the Reds. This was kind of a revenge series against the Reds because of the way things transpired in Cincinnati. Although that first game was an absolute abomination by Major League Baseball, I shouldn't have counted, but it did, unfortunately, and we lost like 6 guys because of that stupid game. But the X-Ray would take some revenge against him, take 2 out of 3. But we actually got some news. So before we break everything down, we actually got some news that Jose Herrera was DFA'd in order to make space for Gabby Moreno. Jose Herrera had been here for, I believe, 4 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon. He had been, at least in the major league level, he had been here for 4 seasons. It wasn't for 4 seasons; it was a little bit longer than that. Um, just quick, yeah, 4 seasons, 4 seasons. But he had been in the minor league system for a few years before that. So, I guess the question is for you, Brandon. One, did you expect the team to actually do it? And two, will he get picked up by another team, or will he pass waivers or clear waivers and then end up on this team anyways?
So Herrera signed as I think a international free agent, July of 2013. That's how long he has been with this organization. He has been with this organization a very, very long time. But like you said, this was his fourth season. Made his debut in 22. He's serviceable. He's a decent backup that really should be playing once a week. But due to, like you said, really what happened in that Red series. Like that Red series, like game one, like yeah, we lost, but we had to finish it on Saturday, and then there was game two on Saturday. It just like the team just looked deflated that entire series. So that one really sucked. Again, it sucks that he is currently without a job. Like I do feel for him with that. Like I'm not happy that he doesn't have a job. I'm happy Gabby's back though. Herrera though, like I could see someone picking him up as like a backup. I personally like if they do, I'm gonna question them because I'm like, he literally has like the worst OPS like in Major League Baseball. Like it's awful. Like he's just not like he'll be a fantastic manager. He will. There is no doubt about that in my mind. He knows this game. He just doesn't have the physical skill set to be a major league quality player. He's not. He is a AAA player. I'm sorry. 475 career at bats, has a career OPS of 539. Like what are we talking about here? Um, I personally would not pick him up on waivers, but he was designated for assignment on Friday. I'm one. Do waivers go over the weekend or do they like go on pause till like Monday?
That I don't know, but I know usually when they go on waivers, if they're decent enough, they get picked up pretty quick. So either he's just not getting picked up at all, or they just have it paused over the weekend.
Yeah, so that's something to keep an eye on, I think, here on Monday and Tuesday to see does he. I mean, it's possible that he has gotten claimed. We just don't know the news of it. Um, like as a person, I hope he does. Like I hope he does land somewhere just it'd be great. But it is, for me as a D-backs fan, I've seen enough of Herrera that I think we have better options. Once McCann was doing what he was doing, I'm like, okay, this decision is easy. But I've also thought certain decisions with Herrera in the past have been easy, and the team hasn't done it. So I was like, okay, Hazen, you're finally starting to see it. That like just stop holding on to certain guys for so long, like Scott Max says here, DFA Pavin Smith. We'll get into that later. The whole current first base situation with this team is a major problem. Major problem. You tweeted it out. I think it was Friday or Saturday. Like it's really freaking bad. So I personally don't think he gets picked up, but who knows?
Yeah, and I do want to give flowers to Jose Herrera. Like he did have a couple clutch hits here and there throughout his career, but like I said, he just hasn't shown that he deserves to be on this major league roster as currently constructed. I think if this team was still like the 2021 team, I think that is a guy like if it didn't have Gabby, obviously, I think that's a guy that you just put in there and plug and play him. Like he's not. How do I say this? Because he doesn't have the arm, the pop time to be like Jeff Mathis. Like Jeff Mathis, as terrible as his bat was, he was just an incredible defender. Just was a steel trap back there. So you understood why this team held on to him for that season, and he just was a good field general. And with those Herrera, like he does manage the games well. Problem is he just can't throw out runners, and we saw it in the past series. He just and we saw it in some other games as well. And I think he's a big contributor to why this team was struggling, why this team was losing as much as they were. Because when you have relatively speedy guys just easily taking second base, and suddenly a single to any of the outfielders turns into a run instead of him being held up to second and still having the double play in order without a run scoring. Like I know he technically has like a point or negative WAR right now, -1 WAR, but it is always one of those things where it's like it's the intangibles. It's just the things that are never going to come out on the actual stat sheet of what has been the problem with him. But I think that's just been it. But I do want to give him flowers quickly about the fact that the best ability is availability, and so far, Gabby in his young career just hasn't been available.
Yeah.
Although this one hasn't been, it wasn't his fault. It wasn't a soft tissue injury or anything like that. He got his hand broken by a pitch during the rain, like a hurricane. It was a hurricane, and then
That's
the
what
the
it
ball
was.
bounced on the base,
That guy.
and they broke his hand. So I mean, you can't do anything about that. He hit a home run. He still had like 10 at bats with that broken hand until finally they did an MRI and found he actually had a fracture there. So he had to be put on the IL, and he had to be on the IL a little bit longer than they probably would have liked because he was still playing on that hand. And just especially with the catcher, that hand is so valuable and that wrist is so valuable that you want to make sure he's able to do his job properly. And once he got the go ahead, he came back. And that was something that we talked about, like the fact that we have already technically um, three catchers on the squad with ADC and McCann. Um, but it was just one of those things where he kind of was the unfortunate odd man out because ADC, although he's not a good catcher, I will say it is kind of weird that they've used him for maybe once as a catcher, and that was just an extra innings, I believe. They haven't used him at
I
all.
think he started at least one other, like a full. I think it's one or two, but yeah, like they're not even like
They're not even trying.
because I think they know he's such a liability back there. I was like, then this offseason, have him learn first base. Like that's my thing with ADC. Like you guys know he is not a quality backup catcher because of his defense. Go put him somewhere where we have a major need right now. Like that he needs to be playing every game because we see what happens when he plays 3 or 4 days in a row. And Josh, as always, coming in clutch. Waivers don't pause on the weekend. However, the transactions don't get officially announced until Monday. So if he got
Okay, so
claimed,
tomorrow
we'll
we
find out
should be able to
tomorrow.
see something about tomorrow because, yeah, I mean, we will get to it. Maybe I can just make it a quick topic in a little bit so we can quickly run through it. But yeah, Jose Herrera, like I said, he's been able to do for this team what he's needed to do. Again, he hasn't been the best, but he is a backup catcher. If anything, he's a backup of a backup. But just the way he's been needed to be used, he's taken that role on, and hasn't seemingly complained or anything like that. So I want to tip my hat off to him. Just he did what this team needed him to do, and he did what he could do. And I don't think anybody is kidding themselves and thinking like he should have been more than he was. And I think if anybody at times should be blamed for him not producing in a way is Torrey. I know this isn't going to be a Torrey bashing, but we've mentioned before, you want to put your guys in position to succeed, and having him catch damn near half the games this season. I mean, even with the current pace that they were going, Gabby was about to start in about 100 games, and
Yeah.
Herrera was going to pick up 60 something games this season. There's no reason why that should be the case. Like a guy like Herrera, like you mentioned, once a week, get Gabby off his feet on Sunday games or something like that. There's no reason why he should be playing in more than 30 games a season, just the way he's been used by Torrey and Hazen and everyone else involved in making
Yeah.
those decisions. Like he
I
shouldn't have been in those
partially
situations.
blame Hazen too because he puts him on the roster.
Yeah.
Like he keeps him there. And that's the thing with Tori. You have to take the toy completely away from him. If you
Yes.
let him have access to it, he's yeah. God, this is so freaking. So I'm just kind of looking at Jose Herrera and Gabby, and it's just funny. So 166 at bats for Jose Herrera has an OPS plus of 52. League average is 100, by the way. Um, Gabby missed what 2 months, still has 20 more at bats than Jose Herrera, but his OPS plus is literally double at 111. Like I'm gonna say it now. There was a time, I think it was in April. It was we need to have a discussion, Jose Herrera or Gabriel Moreno, and I'm like, why? Because Herrera had a average 2 weeks. Like, come on now.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, like just with how much playing time he got, he shouldn't have been playing as much as he did. But like you said, just Hazen at times has to take a toy away from Torrey because he's just gonna keep playing him. I think if Herrera was on this roster, he would have probably caught on Saturday and McCann today. Like that's unfortunately the way things probably would have transpired, and we wouldn't have had such success with Gabby on this team right now. But again, just like I said, you don't like to see guys lose their job because one, they're
I
human
don't.
beings, but also it means that they failed, and that means the team failed. This team was not producing with Herrera on the team, and this is a major league team. This is a business, and unfortunately, when you have a guy not producing, and it's actively hurting the team. So, if Gabby would have been healthy, who knows where this team would be? Who knows if they would even be closer to the playoff spot, if not in the playoffs, if Gabby would have stayed healthy. Like I know they've had a lot of pitching injuries, but I think we saw over this weekend just how great Gabby is, not just behind the plate, but batting as well. Just the way he lights up and lengthens his lineup. But again, we'll see how things go because, as Josh mentioned, the waivers, they get announced on Monday. So we'll see if anybody claims them. If not, then he is able to go down to Reno. And I think this is something that I mentioned maybe about a month ago. Maybe it was about a month ago when ADC was ready to come back and Gabby was making some progress. I mentioned like a part of me does want to like Herrera go because for next season, McCann is not a guarantee that he's going to re-sign with this team if he has a decent September. This team might not want to pay him what he wants for next season. ADC is a no go at the catching position. So again, we'd be left with one catcher that's major league ready, and that's Gabby. So who knows if Herrera clears the waivers, he's probably going to be on this roster, and he's probably going to be one of the first calls that gets made if McCann doesn't get re-signed. But just kind of get to some of the comments before we continue on. Um, but Scott Mack agrees with ADC. He needs to move to first base. I mean, it's not like Josh Naylor was the greatest defender at first base either. So, just stick him back there, see what he can do. I think one of the biggest issues for him was the fact that he wasn't like the greatest, thrower either. So if you can just pick up some balls, and I don't think it should be that big of an issue. But yeah, I just want to before we went through the games, also, I kind of, I mean, I guess it's up to you, Brandon, as well. If you want to answer Justin Huddleston's question about tutor DFA, Pavin, or Locklear.
So the
Um,
thing is, though, Paven
one,
doesn't have options, so
yeah.
he
So
has to be. Locklear
Pavin would have
does.
to be DFA'd. Locklear can be sent down if needed. Do you want to go through this now, or do you want me to run through the series real quick and then we can
Well,
have a discussion about first base?
I mean, we can talk about it now because it kind of
Okay. All
really
right. So
talking about.
I want to talk about the problem of first base because once they got rid of Naylor, I believe what's 16, 71, 81, 14 for 81. That's the production we've gotten from the first base position. So 14 for 81 percentage. That's a
Not good. It's just not good, yo.
that's a whopping 173 batting average. And from the first base position, we're getting 173 from both of them combined. Like that is just not going to do it for this team, and shouldn't be doing it at all. And Naylor was one of those guys that I felt this team maybe should hold on to, just because at the time we didn't have an actual first baseman that was ready to go. Like maybe the Hispanic Titanic in AAA, maybe, but he still has a really high strikeout rate, so maybe it could just be the same as Pavin and Locklear. But I did make the comparison when the trade was made to Pavin Smith from Locklear, except a righty instead of a lefty, and we were sold a bill of goods from the AZ media trying to spin this into a positive, saying that he's gotten comparisons to Goldschmidt, and like there's nothing Goldschmidt like from Locklear, at least from now. But for you, Brandon, I mean, what do you do from here? Do they maybe um, call up Ivan Melendez, or do you think they should just stick with Locklear, see what he can produce for them? Because again, it is a small sample size, but he is about 70 at bats, and they've been relatively consistent at bats.
Um, I think they're gonna just do what they've been doing since Pavin came back. They're going to platoon first base. I personally don't think that they're gonna make any drastic changes at first base here for the last month of the season. Because I'm front office pretty much is like, yeah, we're not making the playoffs, but the players are trying. Like as we can see, like the players are going to try. And I know Red Sox Nation is on the anti-Pavin train, so yeah, she's definitely DFA Pavin for sure. Yeah, I mean this podcast has been that for a while. Um, I just like, how do we know that Ivan Melendez is going to be any better? We don't, but like it's it's the uncertainty. Like he could be, but he also could be just as bad or worse. So I'm not sure um, how I feel about this. My thing with Locklear is he looks he has no confidence at the plate. If he doesn't stop check swinging, I'm going to lose it. Like he's just uncertain of his swing choices. And that's what he just needs the confidence back. He just needs to get like one or two solid hits. And it's just like with an NBA player that's lost their shooting stroke, they need to see the ball go in the hoop. Locklear needs to see the ball hit off his bat for a hit. I I I really think that's what it is. I'm not willing to give up on him yet. I know, like you're like he's a 25-year-old uh, rookie. There's a reason why, which I get. I understand. I just think I personally need to see him more, seeing major league pitching, to truly say that we got nothing out of that trade. Pavin, we've seen plenty of at bats. We've seen what this will be his sixth season with the team, 1,300 at bats. Like he had really good couple of weeks at the end of last year, and a really good first month. And I don't know why certain people like to hang on to that. I'm like, that's the exception for Pavin. That's not the rule for me. Um, but this team's going to have a major decision to do about Pavin this offseason. So I just I I don't feel great with Locklear potentially being our starting first baseman next year. I'd rather platoon him and ADC personally, because I think and Locklear's defense has looked subpar at times too. But like I don't know. I'm not willing to give up on Locklear just yet. I personally like I need to see like at least 2 to 300 at bats. Then if I see that he's like a 220 hitter, then yeah, okay, then that didn't work out. But yeah, Locklear,
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, I think for going forward, especially all September, they should just basically give all the at bats to. If they're not going to have ADC at first base, just give him to Locklear. Just have him figure it out, see what he truly is. Because, like I said, 60 at bats really not a lot. It's not like he was great in AAA either. It's not like he was amazing in there. Like he had one good month, and that was, I believe, July. He
Yeah,
had one really good month in AAA, but before that, he was, I believe, barely had an over 800 OPS in the minor leagues in AAA. So, again, it's not like we're getting a guy who was hitting 1,000 or something like that in AAA. So, where you're like, okay, yeah, like I see where, who this guy is, and he just needs time to figure it out with Locklear being almost 25 years old, not being able to put anything together, this far into his career. I do think I'm not, like you said, I'm not ready to move on from him either. I do think he has some potential, especially with some of the pop in his bat, but he has to show me. And right now, he just hasn't shown that at all. He'll hit up, he'll get one base hit here and there, but for the most part, he just really hasn't done much to earn that during that spot. And with Pavin, I mean, we broke down the numbers from August 22nd, how terrible he's been. But even if you look at the smaller sample size, his last 30 games, he's batting 190. He has a 300 on base, which is, I believe, still lower than average. 357 slugging. So he has a 657 OPS. And this was a guy who was hitting third for until he got injured, basically.
yeah,
Like that just can't happen, especially from the first base position. And like you mentioned, this team has a decision to make going forward, especially for next season. Um, Again, the season may be a wash, maybe it won't be a wash. I think this week coming up, I think it's going to solidify whether this team is, going to be, trying at the end of the season or not. But I think with Pavin, they have to figure out what to do with him because next year is his final year. He's also entering arbitration. He is going to cost a little bit more than he normally would. He could get up to maybe about 10 million for next season. And it's up to the team to decide, is he worth that money? Because it's his last year. So it's his last season. Is he worth the money? They can't DFA him anymore. And DFA him. They can't send him down anymore. They would
cannot.
have to DFA him. Is this team willing to move on, after 6 years, or are they going to give him the contract, have him be the starting first baseman, or are they going to try to go for the quote unquote youth movement with Locklear and have him just start off, or if not, go to ADC, or maybe look for a free agent first baseman. There might be a couple soon available, so they might go that route. It just depends on what's going to happen. But anyway, so I think that's enough for now, at least.
Yeah,
Beyond the actual great series that the D-backs had overall, I think we don't want to be too much of a bummer, but the D-backs did take 2 out of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds, which didn't do as much as we wanted to in terms of the standings and for their record, but it did just enough to at least keep our hopes alive for the next week. But in game one, this game, it was Ryan Nelson. Ryan Nelson, honestly, early on in the game, the first couple of innings, didn't look all that great. But then after the third, after the visit from pitching coach Gabe Kaplan, he really settled down. And I believe he retired 11 in a row. And so he ended the night with the 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 6 strikeouts. Gabby came back from the IL, made his presence known right away. The D-backs also announced that they have a new pitching coach, a new third base coach, sorry, Tim Bogar. He was the former manager for Amarillo. He has just a little bit of experience as third base, but that was quite a while ago. But I mentioned to my brother since we were there that he was really communicative with the players, and it could be just because it's his first day that Friday. Could just be trying to get to know the players, but he was very communicative while players were on third base. So that could just make a huge difference. I don't remember ever seeing, um, man, I already forgot his name. What was the third base coach name?
Sean Larkin.
Larkin, there we go. I didn't really see him be too vocal with the players or really chatting with them when they're on third, but it could just be me misremembering. But Gabby also had a big time home run. It was a 3-run home run, and then Carroll had a huge outfield assist in extra innings, saved a run, and ended the inning. Overall, the defense was really tight in this game, especially with that play from Perdomo and Blaze. They really put the pitching on their backs for this game, and they ended up winning in extras with the base hit from Gurriel. In game two, there's kind of a weird day for this game. Jalen Beeks started this game, but I think everyone knew that it was just going to be a quick inning of work. Hopefully, and he did. He made really quick work of the first three guys. And then Chris Mack came in, got 4 innings, 4 hits, 0 runs, and then it became the rest bullpen game the rest of the way with Woodford, who got the rare 4 inning save. I think we're a little bit used to the 3 inning save. This was a 4 inning save. So
crazy.
even though it was a 10-1 game, he got the save. So he's the 15th player for the Diamondbacks to get a save this season, which is a major league record now. There's never been a team with 15 guys get a save, and I think that there's some good and some bad there. It shows that some guys are willing to step up, and it also shows how just whatever revolving door that we've had on this team with the bullpen. Perdomo also hit the longest home run of his career from the right-handed side. He also surpassed Nick Ahmed, at least in this game, for 83 RBI. He's passed that now. Nick Ahmed had 82 in 2019. So 2019 was also a career year for Nick Ahmed. So it was nice to see Perdomo, get there and could be 100. Like I think another couple of good weeks, and that 100 is very doable. They got 10 runs off of 14 hits in game 3. I think this is, as great as the first 2 games were. I think this, at least for me, kind of put a really sour taste in my mouth just with the way things transpired. But in this game, they lost 1-6. The offense just could not get anything going. They just weren't getting a ton of hits, and they were getting some walks. But as soon as the guy went on base, the guys behind them, just a lot of pop ups and strikeouts, just looking absolutely lost at the plate. So they ended up losing this game, unfortunately. But Gallen was a bright spot in this game. Let me look up his numbers real quick. Zach Gallen went 6 innings. He allowed 1 run, 4 hits, 7 strikeouts, and brought his ERA down to 5.13. In my opinion, that run should not count for him either, because it was the inside of the park home run, and it was a literally inside the park home run as well. So that was off of an error. So that should have been a triple and an error.
It was a triple and an error, but because he reached base via hit, that's why he still
So it's still counted, which is, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't count in my book, so maybe there's some advanced stat that counts that. But Zach Gallen has continued to look better as the season has gone on. You have the stats here. In April, he had a 5.57 ERA. May, 5.50. The worst one was June, 6.23. July went down drastically to 5.10. And August, 3.10. He has the opportunity to lower that. I believe this week he would have one more start in the month of August. Could be a great jumping point for Gallen. But for you, I guess, quickly, Brandon, what were your thoughts overall in this series? What did you like? What did you dislike? Do you think this team still has some hope for the playoffs?
Due to the fact that they won the series, yes, I think the playoffs are still alive, but they're on life support. Like it really is. You gotta basically win every series the rest of the year, and I don't even know if gaining 1 game per series is going to be enough. That's why today's loss sucks so much. It took us from potentially being 2 games back of the Reds to 4 games back of the Reds. Like that's a big difference. So I loved how well Gabby played in the two games that he played in this series. I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, of course, Gabby plays well in the first two games. We sit him in game three." He's coming off of a injury. Like, can we just be pleased that he's playing? Like, I don't even know if he plays in this game if it makes that much of a difference. Like, offense did nothing in game three. Um, Thought it was interesting. Our new third base coach, Tim Bogar, was able to wave in the winning run in extras from that Lourdes Gurriel. Back to back walk off wins. It's not good for my health, not going to lie. Kind of is a little high stress. But that throw by Corbin Carroll in the 10th inning was huge. Um, like, I don't think he's strengthened his arm. I think they've worked on him getting rid of the ball more quickly. So, also, the fact that a bullpen game worked and we win 10-1 blows my mind. That seems very, very odd to me. Perdomo keeps just doing his thing. I think he's the best shortstop in the National League. I really, really do. I 100 RBI I think is very much doable, very, very much doable. The way that he gets like 2 to 3 like every series, so we'll just have to wait and see. And like, it's so on par for this team that one game just offensive, just slugfest, and the next day do absolutely nothing, just absolutely nothing. So that was kind of frustrating. But no, I thought it was a good series overall. 15 saves by the bullpen. 15 different guys. It's like you said, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Like the fact that you have to have 15 guys. And just like all of these young rookie relievers that we've seen this year, they'll be really, really good for 2 or 3 outings, and then they have one outing where they just struggle, and that was Burgos today. Burgos didn't look that great today. Backus, that double play to get out of the seventh was huge. Like, that was, for me, that was really, really big. Overall, sweep would have been would have definitely been like, oh, shoot. Now, it helps that Cardinals lost today, and the Mets lost today, so we didn't lose that much ground, but we are still a ways back. There was one chat I wanted to bring up. Scott Mack. I didn't even realize this till he pointed out. When are we going to see Jarvis pitch? He was called up on the 20th, 4 days ago, by the way. Not sure why he didn't pitch on Saturday. Like, why didn't... that was weird to me.
I'd have to look at his game logs. Maybe he pitched a couple days before, because he was a starter in Reno.
That is true. Game logs. Do they not have that? All right, so I'd have to go to the Reno Aces. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even think he's that good.
No,
we see
like an 80 ERA.
Like, we see what his minor league ERA is in Reno. I get it's the PCL, but it should not be that bad. So I don't understand why you would bring someone up. It could be just like you kind of said, Gabe. He could just be. So yeah, he could have pitched like a day or two before, so they want him to be completely rested up. So let's see, Bryce Jarvis, minor leagues. Let's see his game log. Or do they not? Hold up. Stats, game log, and his last one. It's the 15th. So that one doesn't make sense. So that's the joke that people like to make. Oh, Torrey doesn't know who he has back there. I'm like, he does. I get the joke, because there are sometimes like we'll call up guys that like they don't pitch for like 2 or 3. I'm like, thought the point of bringing these guys up was for helping the bullpen, but then you don't use him for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, same with we've seen the same thing with actual position players, just not getting enough reps when they come up. Like Jordan Lawler, 19 at bats in 17 days is not enough. I mean,
He's hitting really. He's starting to hit sliders in AAA,
he's starting to
but
turn things around in AAA. I believe he has a couple more weeks until they expand the rosters, if not a week from now. So he could be one of those guys that they bring up, but again, he would need consistent at bats. And if you want, to kill two birds with the one stone, one, find a place for Lawler to get everyday at bats and solve the first base problem. Blaze Alexander. Blaze Alexander is 6'2" or 6'3", I believe. He is a big guy. He could play first. We've seen him play third very well. He's okay at shortstop, but we've seen him play third base, and he played the outfield position really well in Reno as well. Who knows? We could just plop him out there. I mean, he's not going to be necessarily the best, but that way we can see both him and Lawler on the same field. See what we have, because if the season's going to be a wash, they need to at least figure out who is a viable candidate for next season. Because as of right now, we have no first baseman, we have no third baseman, and we potentially might not have a left fielder either. So we have about 3 vacant positions possibly for next season that need to be filled, and this is the wrong way these guys are getting.
so 2 scenarios I want to throw at you here. Say they are ready to call up Lawler. Have Blaze, because Blaze did play some center field this year in Reno. I'd rather have him out there versus lefties than Jake McCarthy, personally. Or instead of calling up Lawler, call up Tommy Troy. Do the same thing, because Tommy Troy is lighting it up right now. Like, he is playing so well right now. So that's personally what I would rather see them do. Um, because I think you only get 2 additional call ups. I believe it only goes to 28. So that only
Yeah, now it
like
does. Yeah.
so now it would be probably one position player and one pitcher. So it's probably Brandon Garcia. I think would make the most sense, but we'll see. But yeah, no, like that position player could be Lawler, could be Troy, could be Melendez. Like um,
Yeah,
it's
and Scott saying is Blazes 5'11". You're right. That was my mistake. I remember. I was trying to remember the heights that I saw on Friday, and I just remembered. Oh wait, it was Perdomo 6'2". He's the one with the larger body frame, but I mean, Christian Walker is about 6 feet. It's only about an inch of difference, and it could be a huge difference. Could be not a huge difference. I think as of right now, we just need to see what we have in this system and guys that we can use for next season and for the season going forward. Because again, there's about 30 games left. It's not like we're a week away from the season ending. We still have about a month and a week left of games to play, and one of those is 4 games versus Milwaukee, and then 3 games against the Dodgers. And I think it'd be imperative for this team to know exactly who, not just who's going to play in those games, but who's going to start to play in September when the expanded rosters happen. Like, could they call up multiple guys, not just the 2 that get the expansion, but 3, 4 guys, and maybe send down guys, DFA guys. One guy I kind of want to talk about today was specifically Burgos. He was so bad today. For the most part, he had
yeah.
been pretty solid, but he got 3 hits and 4 runs off of 5 pitches. Just an absolute disaster today. And
Like
I don't want to say guys are throwing games or betting, but with how bad that performance was, I was like, maybe check to see if him or some extended family members made some money, because 5 pitches and just to give up that many runs, and then maybe it was a nervous smile, but he was giving a big old smile when he kept getting hits off of him. So I don't know. It was just so bad, and for as good as this bullpen had been, just that was just not it. I mean,
so
in this case, I don't really blame Torrey for going to Burgos, because he had been really good, but that was just an absolute disaster.
I mean, it was 6 pitches, but I get what you're saying. Like the fact that the game changed drastically as soon as he came in. Like it
Yeah.
was a 1-1 game. I felt great. I'm like, all right, Burgos has been pretty good for the most part. Like he is wild at times, but he's effectively wild. Like he gets out of it. This one he didn't. So comes in, 2 pitches, Austin Hayes gets a single. 2 pitches, Gavin Lux gets a single. And then the one that I I don't know if you listened to the broadcast. Steve was like, Spencer steers one into the bleachers. I was like, oh my, like it was. I'm like, all right, Steve, that's pretty funny. Not gonna lie. But yeah, no, 6 pitches. His ERA is at 5.25. He had 4 earned runs in this one. Like that's the that's the thing people forget about relievers is they're so volatile. You'll see them do really really well for 3 or 4 outings, and then they got a blow up where they just get absolutely destroyed. So I have liked what I've seen from him though for the most part. Um, but yeah, like today was didn't make me feel that great. Yeah, he's had 7 games with us. Um, for, like this was the first time he gave up any earned runs. So he's been pretty good for the most part. I don't know if I feel great if he's in our bullpen next year because it also means that Hazen didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Did not go and out and sign any actual high leverage guys. Because I'm like, what are we expecting at this point? Like everyone that we have, I don't feel great. It doesn't matter who goes out there.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, I think Murillo should get the eighth and should be established eighth inning, and then soft rank the ninth. I mean, if it blows up, it blows up. But I think they're the two better relievers, if not the best relievers that we have, who also have the best stuff. But obviously, like you said, it's a volatile position. It happens. But I think as of right now, that should be the one and two guys for the eighth and ninth, and should stay that way. I don't think Murillo should come in earlier, like he has been at times, or same with soft rank. I think it should be a 1-2 punch from them. But again, if we're going into next season with Saul Frank as our closer or Murillo as our closer, I am not going to be excited for that at all. Like
Saul
Murillo has some
Frank
stuff.
should be our 7th next year. If he's
Yeah.
8th or ninth, I don't feel great.
Yeah. Like there's no way that we can go into next season with eighth and ninth inning guys being anybody on this roster. I don't trust any of the relievers to be in the eighth or in the ninth spot for next season. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, we mentioned it before, I believe on the podcast on Wednesday, where we mentioned like the bullpen would have a series like the last one where they allowed 1 run, and that was just off of the young guy Hoffman. He gave up the 1 earned run from the bullpen. Then obviously they turn around and then they have a series like this where they give up a couple runs in the first game, and then just an absolute disaster in the last game. But I mean, Tito Francona manages a good game, I'll say, because I can't say they have a good ball club back there because, in my opinion, the Diamondbacks, even now as currently constructed, are still the better team. I think that's why they were able to come back and win on Friday, win in extras, and why they were able to put up so many runs yesterday. And I mean, they floundered today, but I still think pound for pound, this team is better than Cincinnati and should be above them in the standings. Unfortunately, it's just not the way things have gone. I mean, you can't say that Cincinnati hasn't had injuries. 7 of their main starters have been down, and Hunter Green has been down since I believe May.
He came back like a week or two ago, but yeah, he was out for
May.
for a
Their
while.
other starter, I forget this guy's name. I think he's a lefty.
Nick Lodolo.
No, Lodolo. He was, a Cy Young candidate this year. He went down a couple months ago, or if not a month ago as well. So it's not like they haven't had their pitching injuries and pitching woes. They've been able to weather the storm, and they've been able to win maybe more games than they should because of Tito. Um,
He's a
you know,
there's a reason why everybody loves Tito. Tori included, by the way.
yeah,
Tori loves Tito, which
yeah.
I
As soon as he
completely
became
understand.
available for last season, I was like, oh, please get him, please, please, please. But fortunately, that's not the way things happened, and we'll see for next season how things happen with some other moves that might just need to be made. But overall, I do think this was a good series. Again, I would have really liked for them to sweep, because if they sweep, not only do they tie the season series with the Reds, not only do they go 2 games behind them, they would also be at 500. But now they're 3 games below 500. Is it 3 games?
So if they would have won today, we would have
One
actually
game.
had a tiebreaker over them. So because it would have been 3-3, and then because we have a better interdivisional record,
Oh, yeah,
we would have had the tiebreaker.
the
So
tiebreaker.
we
So they would have
were
been
20.
66 and 67, not 66 and 60. But yeah, they would have been 1 game under 500 going into the series against Milwaukee, which is a 4 game set. So at that point, you would just have to feel like at least take either one series from Milwaukee or one series from the Dodgers, and or at least tie Milwaukee, take the series from the Dodgers, whatever way that would work out. And they could end the month at 500, but instead they kind of dug themselves into a hole, and they have to sweep one of these teams. Like, they're not going to be at 500 if they don't sweep at least one of these teams. Like, the math just isn't there, unfortunately.
Yes, they did,
Um,
Scott. That was yeah. Like what happened with that Friday game and the rain completely took the sail out of this team for the rest of that series. So yeah, that's why sweeping would have been really really big. So now we have to hope that we finish with a better record than the Reds because they're gonna
yeah,
have that 1 game tiebreaker over us. Like I know talking about playoffs with this team, like everyone's like just accept it and move on. Until they're mathematically eliminated, anything is possible. We've seen it before. Teams that have been counted out. Yes, I know they haven't had the terrible bullpen that we have. Um, but you never know what happens in September. Like we've seen some crazy collapse by teams in the past in the month of September.
D-backs included in those.
Yes. I was like D-backs in 23. Like they played awful in September. Like we literally lost our last series going into the playoffs versus the Astros. Like we celebrated in our pool getting swept in that last series of the year. And Scott brings up the one that we brought up a lot, Detroit. But Detroit last year had a dominant bullpen and has a better manager than we do. Just like
Yeah,
how I think that's why the Reds are so record wise are better than what they are. It's because Tito Francona is a Hall of Fame manager. He makes a lot of the right bullpen decisions. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like I know that we've had so many injuries, and we're like, what is Torre supposed to do? He still makes some decisions. You're like, what do you like? That doesn't make sense. Like
yeah. Like Friday, the Friday putting in Backus over Murillo to start the eighth inning.
so, like yeah, it's just. Also, I just want to give a shout out. Like Gurriel has been on fire. Literally leads the National League in runs driven in the month of August, which is when he got put in the 4 hole. Like I know everyone's like he sucks in the 3 hole. I'm like, there's nobody else to put in the 4 hole. There literally is no one else, so he has to go there, and he has proven like that's a really good decision. Like I think he had what 2 walk-off hits this week.
Yeah,
Like he's had a great month. His OPS is like up to 717. I'm like, oh my, it's almost serviceable. So I'm very curious. Um, does he exercise his player option now? Like the way he's been playing, does he think he gets more money? And you kind of brought it up how we might have a empty spot there at left field this offseason. Like we definitely could if Gurriel decides that he's done enough and that he can get more than I think what isn't it like 12 I think is what his player option is for next year. So maybe
yeah,
he thinks he can get 15 or 16. But I think there's a lot of guys on this team that he's really close with. Like you could see it when Jody was talking to Gabby today on the broadcast when they asked him about Gurriel. He, he just I think he's really close with him. Not only because they came over here together, like they both were with Toronto. They both really have grown as players since they got here. Like I get, like he probably doesn't want to leave. A lot of
yeah.
the fan base probably wants him to go though because of his He's so streaky. Oh my, he might be one of the most so
Yeah,
streaky.
but I think with even with how streaky he is, I mean, he was kind of not great at the beginning of the season, but a lot of these guys have struggled early in the season as well. I think maybe he just needed to find his spot. I mean, he worked through his issues. So far in August, he has 23 for 85. He has a 271 batting average, 309 with the 518. So you still want him to work um, on that on base percentage, but
He
no
just
over
doesn't
800,
walk.
twenty
That's the problem.
OPS
He
is
doesn't walk.
has been very valuable for this team, and 29 RBI
That's
this month.
crazy.
We have 1 week, 7 games left in this month, and he has 29 RBI. I believe they were saying on the broadcast that Mark Grace had 25 the last time he won Player of the Month. So there's a lot of talk about Gurriel having potentially the Player of the Month for this month. I don't know if that could do it. Like we just said, that maybe the average and the on base, he would have to work on that a little bit for the next 3 games. But Milwaukee is very pitcher friendly. A lot of guys like to hit in Milwaukee because of that. The batter's eye. Gurriel could be one of those guys who takes advantage of that batter's eye for the next series, and he could put up monster numbers against Milwaukee, and then 40 RBI for the month, 45 RBI for the month, even. If he gets something like that, then I think it's kind of undeniable. He would need to be the player of the month. But having him in that fourth spot, having Corbin in the third, Perdomo at first, switching between him and Cattell, I think is working really well for this team offensively. I still think they still have some black holes like Pavin Smith in this lineup. So like Pavin Smith or Locklear as well. So that is something to keep your eye on, to look forward to seeing for this next series coming up. But just quickly, we want to mention Gabby as well. Since coming back, he's 4 for 8 with the home run double. Just made an immediate impact with his bat already.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what he does in Milwaukee. He always seems to hit really well there as well. But any final thoughts for this series?
So Gurriel has a shot to break the franchise record for most RBI in a month, which was set by JD Martinez September 2017 was 36. 7 RBI in 7 games is very doable, especially with what he's been doing. Now, if he doesn't, next is Gonzo in 2001 with 35 in a month. And then Goldie had 31 in 2017, and Finley had 31 in 2000. So he definitely has a shot to set some franchise records. Um, when you're hitting in the four hole, and ahead of you is Perdomo, Marte, and Carroll, you're going to get opportunities to drive runners in. You just are, because Perdomo is completely content with taking a walk. If you want to not give him a pitch to hit, like he has 23 stolen bases, so he's fine turning that walk into a double. Um, Carroll did pretty well actually walking in this series too. We didn't really talk about Carroll here, but 4 triples is all he needs to get that 20-20-20-20, because he already he got the stolen bases in this series. He reached 20 stolen bases. We know he has a bunch of homers. Um, has the doubles. Like, it's crazy. He's third in extra base hits in all of Major League Baseball, behind Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, who are both like 6'4", 6'5". Carroll's like, what, five
Yeah.
nine? Like, it's just crazy the amount of power that he has. So um, there's plenty. I think he can do it at Chase Field easily. Like, that right center gap and down the right field line. Carroll triples for him. He can jog and he can get those triples. That's
Yeah,
how
I
fast
mean,
he
I'm
is.
excited for him to play in Dodger Stadium just because Teoscar is not a good defender. So anything into that area to him, I think whether it's right center or even down that right field gap or
Yeah.
right behind like the foul line, I think he easily picks up some triples there. So he could end up with that 20-20-20, if not 30-20-20-20. So, which hasn't been done since, who'd you mention? Curtis Granderson or Willie Mays or one of these guys,
And
just
Jimmy Rollins, like,
Jimmy Rollins. So, I mean, he's going to be on a company of his own. I know, it's not as flashy as 50-50 like Shohei Ohtani, but just having guys accomplish, offensive numbers like this is, I think, I think it's really important to be able to zoom out. Like I know the season hasn't gone the way it has, but having guys perform this way, like it just someone like Corbin. I mean, that money is just going up and up and up. Like if he would have not signed the extension, I mean,
You're
this is
right.
a guy who everyone's talking about Kyle Tucker. His contract starting with the 3 or 4. With how terrible he's been the last like month and a half, I don't think that's
He
happening.
was hurt though.
He was hurt, but again, teams still know that he wasn't performing to where he should have been. Possibly he needs to have an electric September, and the Cubs can't afford to collapse. But he could be a 3 or 4 guy, and seeing Corbin play this way, I mean, he would have been a free agent, I believe, at 28 or so. Like I think about the same age, if not a little bit younger than Kyle Tucker, and they have similar careers. I think Corbin has been slightly better than at this point than Kyle Tucker as well. Without the cheating attached to it as well. So Corbin, I think, could have easily gotten like a $300 million contract. So we
Easily.
have him at an absolute bargain. And with how long that contract is and with how young he was when he signed it, he still could go out and get another $100 million contract anyway. So, excuse me. There's
Oh
no,
yeah. Also, I think first D-back to have 3 straight 2020 seasons. He did get
yes,
that with the stolen bases. So, congrats to Corbin Carroll. Just it's just yeah, like you said, it's been a down year. It's been disappointing, but there's still a lot of great stuff to talk about from this season.
yeah. Yeah, so hopefully, Corbin's able to have it. Again, that batter's eye in Milwaukee is absolutely valuable for a lot of these guys offensively. So, they either one of them could go off. So quickly to preview the Milwaukee series uh, tomorrow, Monday, it'll be Erod versus Woodruff. So Coughing Baby versus Atomic Bomb. Unfortunately, Woodruff is a very good pitcher, and I mean Erod has looked very well in his last 4 starts, so he could continue that. I know one of the main things with the Brewers for the longest time was their offense. They did a lot better when they win all those games, but they started to slide down a little bit. They've been playing just about average these last like week and a half. But Brandon fought in game 2 versus Jake Mizorowski. Mizorowski has not looked as good as he did in the first month or so of his career. He has really regressed. He has 4.19 ERA now, and Brandon Fott has a 4.95 ERA. So Brandon Fott's looking to also build off of what he's done the last few weeks. Then Ryan Nelson, a 3.63 ERA versus Priester, 3.44 ERA. So about even there. And then Chris Matt, the GOAT with the 1 ERA versus Quintana with the 3.32 ERA. Overall, I think the pitching favors the Milwaukee Brewers. Even their bullpen is a lot better than Diamondbacks. So I think this is just going to come down to whose offense can get to the other side a lot sooner. You're hoping that they're able to put some of these guys away quickly. We saw that in this series. They had some good pitchers going for them, but working the counts the way they did with Marte, his 13 pitch at bat. Perdomo, I believe, had a
Professional
10
at bat.
pitch at
Professional.
bat.
That was
Gurriel,
huge.
I think, had a 10 pitch at bat, if not, it was around there. A lot of these guys had, double digit at bats in this series. So hopefully they're able to do the same thing as well, because again, maybe you're not going to be able to get to them as well as you might want to, but just being able to work the counts this way, it gives you an opportunity to have them make a mistake, and hopefully they're able to do that against the Brewers. But what are your thoughts in this series? What are you looking for? Do you have any predictions for the series?
So, a couple things to point out. The Brewers are without Jackson Churio. Um, Now he is slated to do a rehab start, so he's probably not going to be back in time for this series. They're also without Reese Hoskins and Joey Ortiz. Um, but they have one of the top second basemen behind Ketel Marte and Bryce Durang. Andrew Vaughn has turned into some crazy. Just it's not shocking. You leave the Chicago White Sox and you have something to play for. How much that changes. And it looks like Shelby Miller is active for them. So will we see Shelby in this series? We'll have to wait and see. So let's see. How many games has he played for them? He's played a decent amount. He's played 8 games. Only given up one run in 7 1/3. So Shelby is definitely playing himself into getting a big contract. Probably this all like not like a big contract, but he's not going to get a non-roster invitee to
Yeah,
spring training
spring
for
training.
someone. Like
Yeah,
he's
and
definitely going to get a major league contract.
so I just looked it up because I wanted to make sure I had my stats right. They did lose the series to the Giants this weekend,
Yeah, they did.
so they're not coming in hot. I mean, the D-backs are coming in hotter, and like the old adage goes, it's not who you play, it's when you play them. As of right now, they're on a bit of a slide. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They have lost 2 in a row, so not the 14-game Milwaukee Brewers that we saw just a couple of weeks ago. I do think they're coming down to earth a little bit, so it could be a good series for the D-backs to take advantage of that. Just they're sliding a little bit, whatever it is. And you want to be able to score early. I mean, the D-backs are starting off every single game batting. So Perdomo, Cattell, Carroll, Gurriel, all those 4 guys have a chance to, I think, really demoralize and put the pitching on their back as well. Because if they start off every game with 1 or 2 runs, if not 3 or 4 runs, it really relaxes the pitchers and they're able to take control of the game a lot sooner. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for them to score early, score in the first inning or score in the second inning, whatever it is. Give the pitcher a fighting chance because, again, we don't have the best pitchers going compared to the Brewers. But if you're able to get to them early, I do think, it puts everything into, I guess, the D-backs' favor because in the first game, the Brewers have to use a lot more of their bullpen compared to the D-backs, and that means second game there might not be some guys available that they want to use, and so the D-backs could take advantage of that. Same thing with the third game, and same thing with the fourth game. This 4-game series, that first game I think sets the tone completely. So this team has to come out swinging, and Erod has to pitch 5-6 innings tomorrow, 2-3 runs, and to be able to give this team a chance to win. So I do think they have a chance, hopefully. That's what I'm hoping for, that we're just getting them on a bit of a slide. They take 3 out of the 4. They are at they're 1 game below 500. Take the sweep from them. They are a game above 500 going into LA. So it's incredibly valuable for this team to either win the series, but more specifically sweep. Like, again, we've said it before, after a certain point in the season, you have to start sweeping. You can no longer rely on going up by 1 game because there's not a lot of time left. There are still about 30 games, 5 weeks. You don't want to get to mid-September, you're mathematically eliminated. So some very important series coming up. Again, same thing for the season standings. So they take these 4. They win against the Brewers in the standings, which, at this point, I don't think they're ever going to catch the Brewers. The Brewers would have to have an absolute huge collapse and not win a single game for the rest of the season for the D-backs to get close. But again, for the Reds, who are above them, it could really help that the division standings as well. So hopefully they're able to take those games from them. But Scott quickly is asking, why did we let Miller go? Because they wanted to dump Jordan Montgomery's salary.
Yep.
That's the unfortunate answer. It wasn't because they got anything in return. They wanted to dump salary, and that was the easiest way. He is a guy I wish they would have been able to keep. But I want to thank everybody for coming in here and joining us in the live chat. Scott, Red Sox Nation,
Josh,
Bubba, Justin. Am I missing anybody?
I think that was pretty much everybody. So we
do
appreciate
it, Bo. Yeah, so I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in here. We should be back on Thursday with hopefully a sweep, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Desert heat, but we own this town. Brennan gave on the call with Josh in the back, bringing it all. Fastballs hum, the bats ignite. 9 innings deep, we fight all night. Wins and losses, highs and lows. We break it down, yeah, that's how it goes. turn it up loud. We rep the Saints, we make them proud. From first pitch to the final frame, we bleed Santona red in this game. So hit subscribe, don't miss a play.